Hello, my dear friends. I'm breathing pretty good, so I want to do a video for you. And I wish I could speak eloquently like a lot of preachers do, like a lot of good orators do. But I'm just an old bald-headed redneck from Texas Gulf Coast. I don't speak eloquently. I wish I did. I used to. I don't know what happened to me. But I got God's word to share with you. And I hope I can pull it together enough where maybe it'll help a few of you. What I'm going to share is not new to any of you. You all know the Bible is good or better than I do. But it's something that's not talked about a whole lot, and it's something that we need to be aware of all the time so that we can protect ourselves from the wiles of the devil. And he is very strong in the world now and getting stronger. God is giving him more and more power, and everything is under God's control. Always has been, always will be. Even the devil is under God's control. But we're told in the end times, God is giving him more and more power up until the time that he rules and reigns planet Earth as the antichrist. That's just for a very short period of time. But there are many deceivers out there already. I've pointed out several to you, and it's pretty clear to see that they're everywhere. A lot of them stand behind pulpits every Sunday. You got to know God's word. You've got to have discernment, or you're going to be fooled by one of them. I find it very, very hard to find a church now that has a Bible teaching pastor. I got my ring light behind me, and I've got a white light right here. And you notice I don't have the shadow from here up like I normally do. And I turned off the overhead light in the room. So I think the lighting is pretty good. It's a pain in the rear end to set everything up, but if it'll help y'all, then y'all are certainly worth it. And I do appreciate every one of you way, way more than you know. I thank God for all of you and the encouragement that you give me in your comments and private messages and so forth. I thank God for every one of you. You'll be talking about the Antichrist. I already told you that. There have always been antichrists here on earth, and there always will be. But the main one, the one who will deceive many in the end times, is probably walking on planet Earth right now. We just don't know who he is. He hasn't been revealed as the Antichrist yet. He's a handsome man, a very good-looking man, very attractive. And he is a very eloquent speaker, unlike me. And with his words and his beauty, he is going to deceive many. Don't know when he's going to be revealed as the Antichrist, but that time is coming up very shortly. I believe we, the true Christians, the church, the bride of Christ, will be raptured out of here before the revelation of the Antichrist, just before. I think he will be revealed not very long after we are raptured out of here. And if we can see down from heaven, we'll get to see who he is. I don't know if we can see down from heaven or not. I'm curious to know. He's probably somebody hiding in the shadows right now. Probably not a well-known person at this time, but he's going to be very well known before long, whoever he is. And what's going to make him so attractive is after the rapture, the world is really going to fall apart. It's already falling apart. You can see it. We talk about it. The world is in worse shape right now than it has ever been in. America is by far in the worst shape it has ever been in. It has never been in the mess that it's in now. For years, we were the leader of the world. We were the superpower of the world. We're not anymore. And it's sad. It hurts my heart because I love America. There's nothing about America in the Bible. But America was the country that promoted God more than any other country, and God blessed America for that. And then back in the 60s, we started turning our back on God. We kicked him out of school. People started kicking him out of their homes. Preachers started kicking him out of church. And it has cost this country a lot. And it's going to get a whole lot worse. That's hard to fathom, but it is going to get a whole lot worse. And then comes the Antichrist. And America's not the only country that is going through what we're going through. A lot of countries are. And it's all because of the sin in America and in other countries that it's happening. God is judging us, and it's going to get a lot worse. And during the tribulation, it's going to be horrendous. You can read Revelation and see what I'm talking about, and Daniel, and Jeremiah, and Ezekiel, and Zechariah, and I can't remember where all. It's in the Bible in a lot of places. Oh, and did y'all notice these new lights that I got here made all the facial hair disappear? They're pretty good lights, huh? I just hope I can see good enough to read my Bible here. I'm going to start, and there are hundreds of verses I could have shared with you all, but I'm just going to share a few, I think 3 or 4. The first one is in 1 John chapter 2, verse 18. It says, "Little children, it is the last time. And as ye have heard that Antichrist shall come, even now are there many antichrists, whereby we know that it is the last time. And if John thought it was bad then, he ought to see it today. To me, y'all, it is repulsive. And what repulses me the most, I think more than anything else, and there's a lot that repulses me, the homosexuality is extremely repulsive to me, because from Sodom and Gomorrah, I know how much God hates that. And our bodies, the bodies of true Christians, is the temple of the Holy Spirit. We dare not defile our bodies with anything like that. Even with sex outside of marriage, that is a heinous sin. And I've done that many times, and God made me pay for it. Big time. I'm talking about big time. And I repented and I changed, but he's still making me pay for it. And I understand. I deserve what he gives me. The next one is, where am I at? 1 John chapter 2. And we got 1 John chapter 4. And there's probably 500 scriptures I could have shared, y'all. 1 John chapter 4. And I'm going to read you 1 John chapter 4. I'm going to read verses 1 through 6, if I can see it. All the lights back there and not here. Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits, whether they are from God. Because many false prophets are gone out into the world. I told you about that already, and you probably see it yourself. Look on YouTube. They're all over the place there. Look behind pulpits in churches. They're all over the place there. Hereby know ye the Spirit of God. Hereby know ye the Spirit of God. Open your ears. Every spirit that confesseth that Jesus Christ is come in the flesh is of God. And every spirit that confesseth not that Jesus Christ is come in the flesh is not of God. And this is the spirit of antichrist, whereof ye have heard that it should come, and even now already is it in the world. And the antichrist he was talking about is not the antichrist of the end times, the antichrist of the tribulation period that will rule and reign planet Earth. But as I said, there are many antichrists and always have been. Ye are of God, little children, and have overcome them, because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. They are of the world, therefore speak they of the world, and the world heareth them. We are of God. He that knoweth God heareth us. He that is not of God heareth not us. And that is so, so, so true. Hereby know we the spirit of truth and the spirit of error. We better know the difference. We better be able to discern between the difference, between the two. All right, next we go to Second John, which is just one page away in my Bible. 2 John chapter 1 verse 7 says, "For many deceivers are entered into the world who confess not that Jesus Christ is come in the flesh. This is a deceiver and an antichrist." There's a lot of them out there, y'all. Now we flip over to Daniel chapter 8. No, I'm sorry. Daniel chapter 7, verse 8. "I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were three of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great things." America is in a mess. The world is in a mess. This Antichrist, whoever he is, wherever he is, he's going to have answers for all the messes that America and the world is in. And the world is going to love him because he appears to be able to fix all those messes. It's going to take a one world government. It's going to take a one world banking system. It's going to take a one world religion. You get where I'm going here? The people will be deceived into thinking all of that is what we need, because the Antichrist is the great deceiver, and the world is going to love him. The world is going to worship him. When he tells the world they need this chip in their hand or in their forehead, they're going to line up to take it. I don't have any notes. I know there is more I was wanting to tell you, but my mind has gone blank now. But I hope you get the picture. You need to know Jesus. He is going to save his bride from all of that. Do you know him? Better yet, does he know you? Everybody just about says they know him. But he knows the ones who are true, the ones who worship him, the ones who really love him, the ones who put their faith in him. Are you one of those? Or do you put your faith in yourself, or your spouse, or your children, or your pastor, or anybody else? Where is your faith? My lungs are getting a whole lot better. They're not well yet, though. Talked to Brother Bud this morning, Reverend Porkchop. He is getting checked out of the hospital this morning. He sounds really good now, so praise the Lord. He's still alive and sounding a whole lot better. They took him off oxygen yesterday, and he's been doing great ever since he went in the hospital this time. So hopefully he can stay being great. I keep telling him he needs to stay. He's ready to go home to heaven. He's ready. And I don't blame him. I keep telling him he needs to stay alive a little bit longer, wait till I sell the house and mosey down there to Northwest Arkansas and give him a visit, because I'd like to see him in person. He and I are just YouTube friends, but we feel like we're close brothers. We talk every day. And I talk to some of y'all too, some of y'all others. Several men, several women, and I love and appreciate every one of you. Overall, God is in control. In these times, in these end times, He is relinquishing control over to Satan. And during the tribulation period, the first half of it, Satan will be in control. You don't want to be here, y'all. And if you are left behind, I hope you'll remember that Jesus is Lord, not the antichrist who will be leader. I hope you'll trust in Jesus at that time. It'll most likely cost you your life. You'll probably get to meet the guillotine, but 1 second after that blade drops, you will be in heaven for all eternity if you accept Christ during the tribulation. Be a whole lot better to do it now. Jesus did everything necessary. Jesus did everything because of His love for you. He wants you for His bride. Whoever you are, He wants you for His bride. He wants you in heaven with Him forever. Therefore, to make that possible, because we're all sinners, He died on the cross for your sins, for my sins, for the sins of the world. Those who believe in Him will spend eternity in heaven with Him. All the work necessary to be saved was done by Jesus. There's no work at all we could do to get saved. Jesus did it all. All we have to do is believe in what Jesus said. In the description box below the title of every video I make, every long video I make, I put the 5 short verses I use when witnessing to somebody. The first 4 explains the gospel in very few words. You can read the whole thing in 2 minutes probably. It's maybe 30 or 40 words total. And that is 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verses 1 through 4. Each of those verses are very short. And the 5th verse is Acts 16:31. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verses 1 through 4 tells you what Jesus did so you can be saved and spend all eternity in heaven with Him. It didn't take 3 or 4 books of the Bible or hundreds of verses. It took 4 very short verses to show you what Jesus did for you because he loves you and he wants you in heaven with him. Acts 16:31, which is just 5 or 6 words, tells us what we must do to be saved, and that is believe on the Lord Jesus Christ, and thou shalt be saved. That was 11 words. So we believe in what Jesus did, and we will be saved for all eternity. Do it, my friend. Do it. Stop procrastinating, because you don't know when the end is going to be. You don't know when you're going to take your last breath. You don't know when your heart's going to beat for its last time. Nobody knows except God. God is in control of all of that. You think you're in control? You think you're in good health? You know how many people in good health drop dead unexpectedly? You know how many people in good health were in horrible accidents that took their life right there at the scene? I was almost one of those people. I came that close, my friends, to going to hell. Just when I had the bad accident that crippled me, I was not a Christian. For 4 or 5 days, the doctors kept saying I would not survive. Had I not survived, like they kept saying, I would have been in hell for 23 years. That scares me every time I think about it, about how close I came to going to hell. Thank God he saved my life, and thank God he saved my soul right after that. Thank God, thank God, thank God. Man, what a fool I was. And a lot of y'all are fools too. I'm not going to call anybody a fool to their face, because I don't know the condition of anybody's soul. I just know from facts that most people are lost. And I also know from facts, because of words Jesus himself said, that a lot of professing Christians are not really Christians. They're Christian in name only. So friends, you better make sure of your salvation. You better make sure. You can't fool Jesus. You might can fool the preacher. You might can fool your family. You might can fool your friends, but you cannot fool Jesus. So if you're one of those playing that game, that is a deadly game to play. An eternally deadly game to play. So stop it. Stop the foolishness. Believe on the Lord Jesus Christ, and thou shalt be saved. Bam, y'all. Jesus Christ himself, because of his love for you, did all the work necessary for you to secure eternity and heaven with him. I am so looking forward to going home. My house is just about ready to list. I'll have it listed on the market in the next day or two, and the last couple of days, God has finally started showing me where he wants me to go. It kind of surprised me. But it's a place I would love to go. Unlike this place. Goodness gracious. I know why he sent me here. This place was hard in a myriad of ways. This place was scary at first. It was dangerous. But my mission here is just about finished, and soon, I don't know when he's going to call me home. Evidently, it's not going to be in the next few weeks, because already know where he wants me to go to next. So, and there's a lot of logistics I got to work out before I can get there. And I would love to go back to Texas and see my friends there before I take off. And I would love to go see people like Bud and some of you others. And I can't remember where all you are. You all are scattered all over the place. There's another one in Arkansas I'd like to go see, and one in Ohio, one in Iowa, one in Wisconsin, one in Virginia, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana. Y'all are scattered all over the place. But I don't know if I'll get to see any of you, because God has given me my new assignment, and he knows who's going to buy this house and when they're going to buy it. And whenever that happens, I'm going to be out of here. And I don't know if he's going to give me time to go visit people or not. We'll just see how that works when it gets here. That's what I like about putting all my faith and trust in him. I don't have to worry about logistics. I don't have to worry about none of that, because he's my booking agent. He's my travel agent. He takes care of everything for me. He made the trip up here very easy. And I know he'll make the trip to my next place very easy too. Because he is just awesome. I hope you know him. I really hope you know him. And I keep telling him, I'm getting old, Lord. I need to retire. And he says, nope, Bubba. Look at how old Moses was. Look at how old Noah was. Look at how old everybody was compared to me. I'm just a young pup. He's in control. I told him, I pled with him, just one more move and no more. Moving is hard. Even, when I moved from Texas to here, the only thing I brought with me was Kitty Callie and her stuff, which wasn't a lot, and my clothes, and my toothbrush and toothpaste. And look at all the stuff I got now. Goodness gracious, y'all. So I'm listing this house for sale, furnished, fully furnished. That way, my next move, all I'll take again will be my clothes and Kitty Callie. And I've got to check into moving Kitty Callie, because there may be some paperwork and veterinarian visits to take care of before she and I takes off. But I think I got a few weeks to do that. That's it for now, y'all. I don't know when I'll be back. I got a lot of work to do here and a lot of work to do for the Lord. And I'll be back if it's his will. I don't know when the rapture's going to be. I think we've got a while still, but I don't know. I keep looking for it every day. And I look at my old Facebook memories. I've been expecting the rapture for over 17 years, and it hadn't happened yet. So we may have another 17 years, but I don't think so. I don't think this world can hold together that much longer. I think it is very, very close. And so, friend, you need to know Jesus now. I know we don't have another 17 years. And y'all, Beware of false prophets. Beware of the many antichrists out there. And really super beware of the antichrist when he comes on scene. He's going to look like the Savior. He's going to be like Superman. He's going to save the world. But it's not going to last. It's all going to be lies and deception. It's going to be all about control under him. And it's going to be hell on earth. You don't want to be here. I guarantee. All right, y'all. That's it. I love you. I appreciate you. Y'all give me some comments. If you're not subscribed to my channel, I don't pay attention to statistics, but I went to YouTube Studio yesterday, I guess, looking for something, and that's where all the statistics are. And it's something that popped up in my face. I wasn't looking for it. It just popped up in my face. It said only 48% of my viewers are subscribers. So that means most of y'all that are watching my channel aren't even subscribed here. Come on, y'all. Hit that subscribe button and then hit that little bell so you'll get notified when I do a new video. It's free. I don't do all of those where you got to pay to listen to me. I think that's ridiculous. YouTube makes so much money off of ads. I don't know why they got to do all that other stuff, but they are getting filthy rich off of YouTube viewers. I don't do that on my channel. Everything on my channel is free. My community page is free. My shorts are free. My long videos are free. Everything I do is free. I'm not monetized. I could have been monetized over a year ago, and I'm not. Because I'm not here for the money. I'm here to share Jesus. The money would be nice, but I'm not monetized. That's that for now. Subscribe to my channel and be looking for my next video whenever the Lord gives it to me. God bless you, dear friends.